I'd like to be in a place where everyone can tell their children, call the police if you've got a problem.
Anchorage resident and mother of two, Shayla Kerrigan, worries about how interactions between her children and police could go wrong.
It's always scared me. I've never known what would happen if the police were called for any reason.
Kerrigan's kids are both grown adults with special needs.
My children are both neurodiverse geeks. They're nerds.
As in, they're into video games, anime, and cosplay. Both like to dress up and go out as characters they like.
A lot of her video game costumes do include having some sort of weapon or gun or sword or fake knife. And even though they're obviously fake, if you're far enough away, how obvious is the fake, right?
Join in anytime.
Kerrigan especially worries about her son William because he's over 6 feet tall, weighs around 250 pounds, and tends to freeze and become nonverbal if he gets scared. She's heard speculation that 16-year-old Easter Leoffa's size was a factor when police shot and killed her last month. Police said they were called to the family's apartment because Leoffa was threatening others with a knife.
My son's bigger than she is. Is that going to be the excuse? That he was armed with being big and brown?
Kerrigan and her kids are Athabascan.
Something just has to go a tiny bit wrong for it to be our kids. And that's not fair.
Kerrigan was among about 60 people who met up recently at an Anchorage church for a community discussion about public safety in the wake of the police shootings. There appeared to be consensus to lobby the city's elected officials to create a civilian police oversight panel. There was also collective interest in ongoing funding for teams that specifically work emergency calls for people in mental health crises. After Easter Leoffa's killing last month, which was the Anchorage Police Department's 4th fatal shooting this year, Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance addressed the city.
To the family and to the community asking questions, you deserve answers. You deserve action, and you deserve accountability.
Is there any precedent for it, this time period, for this many different shooting incidents?
We've never had this many officer-involved shootings in a compressed time like this.
LaFrance and Police Chief Sean Case laid out several commitments, including a third-party review of the Leoffa incident, a new community advisory committee on policing, and a report on the last 15 years of police shootings. Beyond the statistics, Case says they're digging into details from past cases and looking at the impacts of past policy and training changes. The review isn't complete yet, but Case says one factor is apparent.
So it's not just officers being involved in shootings, it's the public as well. So an increase in gun violence overall. When we respond to the scene and there's a weapon involved, which is common. We have a lot of weapons, a lot of guns in Anchorage, but we've seen an increase in the use of firearms, in the commission of crimes and assaults.
Chief Case is non-committal about a new empowered civilian oversight board.
There are several factors that have led up to this point.
So is Daryl Evans, who heads the police labor union. They both say the city's elected officials are empowered civilians who oversee the police department.
Typically, oversight is kind of backward-looking, looking at an incident after it's taken place. I'd rather see the time and the money spent on forward-looking programs that can try and head these things off before the police have to get involved.
Like Shayla Kerrigan, Evans says he also wants people to feel comfortable calling the police.
To that mother, I would say, please call us if you need help, and please provide as much information ahead of our arrival as you can.
Statewide, there have been 13 police shooting incidents this year. That's 7 in Anchorage, plus 1 each in Juneau, Wasilla, Kasilof, Marshall, Eek, and Gamble. The state's Office of Special Prosecutions, which works out of this courthouse, reviews each of those cases for potential criminal charges against the officers involved. The office has completed 8 reviews in those cases, and so far in each one, determined that the officers were legally justified in their uses of force. In Anchorage, I'm Jeremy Shea.